I'm Victoria Sanders. I'm Managing Director of Teletext Holidays. So I actually did my degree in travel and tourism. In fact, I left school at 16 and I was perceived to be not a dropout, but I went to a private school and no one left at 16. Like my sister's a doctor and everyone is a success. And I left at 16 and I did a BTEC National in travel and tourism. And from there I then went to university and I did my degree. I then decided to take a year out and I went travelling, like everyone does, and I did a lot of travelling. And so that kind of gave me a bit of a buzz and really reaffirmed the fact I wanted to go into travel. I then went to work for Singapore Airlines. Singapore Airlines was my first job, and actually I did predominantly long haul sales, and I did, like everyone else does, I think in travel, is you start at the bottom. I don't really think it matters who you talk to and at what level. Everyone kind of has to start at the bottom. And I did reservations for 4 or 5 years. And I worked for Singapore Airlines, and at the time they had their own tour operator called Asian Affair Holidays, and I worked for there for a couple of years. And from then I went to Dial a Flight, so the Lotus Group, which was an experience, and that was my first introduction to Teletext. Never even heard of Teletext before. And they had these Teletext pages on the wall, had these TVs everywhere with Teletext pages on, and it was literally the phones are ringing off the hook, and you were literally selling flights predominantly for Teletext. And then I went to Bridge the World. I again did round the world. It was more round the world tickets, sort of backpack around the world tickets. And from then was my first sales job. And I think at that point when you do a lot of res, you kind of either go into product or you go into marketing or you go into sales. And I decided to go into sales. And I worked for Jet Set. And I went to sell Australia and New Zealand holidays and predominantly Southeast Asia, which is really kind of my background. It's where my passion lies, was long haul. And so I worked for Jet Set and I was there for 2 years. And I worked for Paul Molyneux, who is still there at Jet Set. It was a great business, a really good grounding to sales. And I literally was on the road, 4.5 days a week, and I travelled up and down the country, and it was literally going to see travel agents, and you do the training and you do the giving out donuts, but it gives you such a good understanding, of travel agents per se and how hard they work, but also how much training they need in order to sell your product. And I think that's so important to get that and actually to understand that. And from then I went to work for Air New Zealand, and I was key account manager for Air New Zealand, and I stayed there for 2 years, and that was just fantastic. When I was at Jet Set, I was really, really lucky, and I got to travel quite a bit and take some family trips. And then at Air New Zealand, I continued to do that, and I saw New Zealand a couple of times. I went to the South Pacific a couple of times, and it was just phenomenal. And from there, I learned a great deal about aviation and the airline industry, and about load factors and about yield management. And it was a great company to work for. The frustrations of working for a company that's based overseas and you're very much an outpost. So, a really good grounding to that and an understanding. And then I went to First Choice. And I went in as a national sales manager for flights and accommodation at the end, but mainly for flights, and completely different to what I was doing at Air New Zealand, because it was all about the charter market, and all of a sudden I was like in this kind of charter territory and Europe. I mean, my actual knowledge of Europe was horrendous. I mean, because all I'd sold was, round the world tickets and predominantly Australia and New Zealand, and all of a sudden I had to find out where all these kind of like European destinations were and all that kind of stuff. So I was it was amazing, and I really, really enjoyed it. But on the other side of that was the Unijet side, and I went to I also involved and then was responsible for the Unijet side and the scheduled flights, which of course was my background. And I worked with Claire Trevis there, who is now at Low Cost, and she's a fantastic lady to work for. And we tried to develop a flight booking engine for travel agents to use, where they wanted to book charter flights, wanted to book scheduled flights, and we started to develop this. And from then I was actually headhunted into Teletext, and I came into Teletext 8 years ago, and I came in as what they call a group head, and which a group head then is almost like a section leader. And Teletext at the time hadn't really moved that far away from their TV legacy. I mean, the analogue was still very strong, and Freeview was really taking off, as well as Sky. They were on Sky TV then. And the website was in its infancy, and they wanted me to come in and help develop some of the online offerings, so the flight-only side, the hotel-only side, and the independent travel side. So I went in as group head of independent travel. and it was an amazing journey, a really amazing journey. And at the time, I learned a lot from some very key people that were there then. So Dan Robb, who is now very senior at Google, he was my line manager. And Nishma, she was then Nishma Patel, she's now Nishma Robb, an amazing lady who was sales director at the time and then became managing director. And, you know, extremely hardworking and, you know, very focused on the business. And I learned a lot in my first couple of years. And I was really fortunate, you know, that I kind of progressed quite quickly through the business, and from coming in as running the independent travel team, I was very soon promoted up to sort of sales manager, then head of sales. And then when Dan left to go to Google, I ran the whole sales team, and there was a whole shift in terms of the business because Teletext had a TV division and an online division, and the two divisions were going out to see the same customers, and they were going out and doing the same sort of deals. And so the two teams then brought together, and I was promoted into sales director, and I ran that under Matt Cheevers. And it was a great journey because we then decided actually to start up our own retail offering. And I then went to run the retail offering for that. So moving from, you know, kind of very much sales director for the media side to then running a retail operation was probably the biggest learning curve I've ever had, and was an amazing journey in terms of learning more about the Teletext agent side and effectively how well our advertising did. So you soon learned actually how good our advertising was or what we needed to change. And then when Matt left as MD and I was promoted to MD, which is now 3 years ago, was just fantastic. And to look back now and see the change in Teletext from, you know, 8 years ago to current day has been absolutely incredible. You know, from a very strong, you know, analog legacy with pixelated coconuts and, you know, palm trees on the TV to now we have purely just a digital platform, and the business now is purely digital marketing. And it's been an incredible journey, and, you know, I'm really proud to have been part of the management team and been someone who's been able to lead this. Now the business, we were owned by Daily Mail Group, and in January this year we had an investor come in, and we've bought 51% of the business away from the Daily Mail Group. So we're now 51% owned by the management team, so predominantly by Chris Lecture, who's our chairman, and a few of the management team, myself included, are shareholders within the business. So now to actually be not only leading the business along with Chris, but actually to be, you know, part of the future of the business and to shape it and be a shareholder it's just incredible. And, you know, and I'm very excited about the next few years for Teletext as well. Teletext essentially now is a digital marketing business. So we are an aggregator, but I like to think that we're actually kind of different in a way. And the changes that we've made, certainly in the last 3 years, have been moving the business from, you know, analog lead generation to actually a holidays marketing, digital marketing provider. And I like to think that we operate twofold. A, for the industry, so we provide leads and support and advertising and marketing for the industry, but also from the consumer point of view, we're providing them with a one-stop shop to find everything they want from a good deal value package holiday. And that has been very much our focus for the last 3 years, and will continue to be our focus going forward. But yeah, I mean, we've gone, you know, in this massive journey from a legacy brand to actually, you know, removing all the legacy and going forward to a digital platform. You know, we turned analog off 3 years ago when I first became MD. And, you know, it's surprising, we had this outcry from the general public, and our switchboard was literally, you know, it was 300-400 calls a day coming in from the general public, because we switched all the sport and news and information off at the same, you know, all at the same time as travel. And we had this virtual vicar, and the biggest outcry we had is the fact that this virtual vicar could no longer produce his Sunday sermon on TV. And it was just, you know, the letters and the phone calls. I was just like, oh my goodness. And I think people thought we offered a public service and that we weren't a commercial organisation. And the fact that, you know, having an analogue platform was very costly for us. Because we came off Sky at the same time. You know, Sky was a phenomenal cost for us as a business, so we turned Sky and analog off at the same time. But the outcry from the analog side, you know that people couldn't use their fast text anymore and they couldn't, you know, access us. But, you know, I'm very proud of what we've achieved in the last couple of years, and we did a huge kind of like brand campaign 2 years ago, and it was very much geared towards the fact that our demographics were kind of 35, 45 plus really, and now I'm really proud to say that we've got a completely flat demographic coming to Teletext now. So the work we've done on the kind of 16 to 35-year-old has been phenomenal, and that's through, you know, TV campaigns, radio campaigns, the move we've done in social media. You know, we now have 60,000 fans on our Facebook, which is, you know, a real feat, and we've got that literally in the last 6 months. The website now attracts 22 million unique users a year. We conduct 100 million holiday searches a year. We have 500 million page impressions a year. We hold 50 million holidays a day on the website, and we're a top 10 travel website. And for us to be able to have this platform that can able to conduct all these searches and can, you know, attract all these users to the site is great. But actually what has been absolutely phenomenal for us is the trusted brand. You know, Teletext has a trusted brand. And when we were doing the TV campaign 2 years ago, we went to a number of different marketing agencies. We went to Saatchi & Saatchi, went to MGBD, and the very first question they asked Mark, who's my marketing director, and I were, are you going to change the brand? And that was the first question that everyone asked us, and we thought, well, we would be foolish. You know, it's, you know, even though Teletext is a legacy brand and we don't necessarily operate on the full TV platform, would be so foolish. You know, it's like Car Phone Warehouse. They don't just sell car phones. So, and you know, 45% of our traffic is natural to the site. You know, why would we turn that off? So we've completely capitalised on the fact that we have this trusted brand. And when we did a lot of consumer research about the brand, it was all kind of like in here, it's like, you know, Teletext, wow, you know, I used to use Teletext. Teletext is great. I had the best holiday I've ever had on Teletext. And we used all that information in our TV campaign, which is about the best holidays of your life. You know, we were there then, we're here now. And it worked really well. And all of a sudden, you know, people, especially the younger age group who never probably used us on analog TV, were now coming through us through social media, through the website. It's, you know, it's been fantastic. And it was, you know, and I think that's probably our biggest success and what I'm probably most proud of. So we made the decision to turn our Freeview platform off at the end of this month. Again, for very similar reasons we turned analog off is, you know, we wanted to, it's a cost, you know, it's a cost to the business. Plus, we don't see any new users coming to Freeview. We've got very loyal customers using our Freeview platform. But actually, even though through, you know, dedicated, you know, advertising campaigns, we haven't really seen any new customers coming to Freeview. But actually, what we're seeing, there's a trend in the marketplace towards smart TVs, and there's, you know, we actually have a smart TV app already. And for me, in terms of the future of the business, is, you know, Teletext is synonymous with TV, and I absolutely do not want to move away from that. But what's important is moving the Teletext brand into the new digital era of TV, which is very much smart TVs. And we actually launched our TV app 2 years ago. And it's, you know, it was very much in its infancy then. And I think what's happened now in the market is you'll go to any electrical provider, you know, John Lewis or Currys or Commerce, whatever, and buy a smart TV, and they all have internet connection. So all TVs now are IPTVs, internet connected TVs. And we now have our smart TV app with Samsung. We're on Hummux, and we're now launched on the Virgin Media TiVo box. And Virgin Media now have 1 million TiVo box out in the marketplace. And what we're seeing is a move towards people interacting with TV in their home. So if you've got a Samsung TV, for example, and you go on and you plug it into your internet, you now can access Facebook, Google, YouTube, Marks and Spencer's, Waitrose, and Teletext Holidays. And I think what's going to happen in the future and the trends you're going to see in the next kind of couple of years is people coming back to their living rooms and then using all their devices. So they'll sit there with their iPad or their phone or their laptop, and there'll be their TV. And they'll be watching TV, but at the same time they'll be interacting with someone on Facebook via their TV, they'll be watching something on YouTube, and they'll be interacting with Teletext Holidays. And the great thing about the smart TV apps is it brings the holidays to life in your living room. We have video on demand. You can actually search for a holiday. So instead of having those lists of offers, you know, the old Peter Kay video, and you know, you waited for that offer to come around and then you missed it, you know, you actually now can actually search for a holiday on your TV, you know, 2 adults, 2 children, I want to go to Cyprus. And all of a sudden you get get a hotel, you get a brochure page full of brochure content. So, 12 images of the hotel, looking at the swimming pool, all the information about the hotel, and a video about the resort destination. And then you can either book, use your phone, or you can go onto the website and book. And that's where we've become device agnostic, is that you're actually interacting with Teletext at all these points. But actually what we've recognised the trend is this is how people are going to, this is how they're going to live, this is their lives in terms of the devices that they're using. And smart TVs are absolutely incredible. The biggest issue that we have with smart TVs is absolutely no one knows how to plug it in. So actually if you actually watch the latest Samsung TV ad, it's just plug it in. You'll go to, my friend went to buy a Samsung TV the other day, and she called me up, she says, oh, can you help me plug my TV in? Apparently, because I work for Teletext, I know how to put a TV in, get a TV sorted. So I went round and went, oh my God, you've got a Samsung TV, great, you've got internet connection. Have I? I was like, yeah, and said, the issue there is it's literally in shop level, is the people selling the devices actually have no idea that these are actually incredible smart TVs. So actually Samsung have now released this kind of whole advertising campaign about just plug it in. You've got this amazing system sitting in your TV and no one knows how to use it. So we're working quite closely with Samsung, their PR company, to help educate and stuff, and actually the TV campaign's very good. But if you've ever used a Xbox Connect and you have, you're using your hands all the time, and that's exactly how the future of TV will be, and you'll be able to just use this in terms of information. And I'm really, really pleased that we are part of this already, and we will grow with this. We have a new smart TV app coming out at the end of the year. Ours is already very good. It works really well, but I'm just, I want to make sure that we keep up and we future-proof everything that we're doing, whether that's the website or the smart TV app. We had a TV campaign, so we decided we wanted to kind of reinvent the brand, and turning off analog was a big thing for us, and to move the brand forward. And we wanted to stretch our demographic, and we wanted to be able to get Teletext to be in the hearts of all generations, whether they'd interact with us in analog or not. So we launched a TV campaign. And our TV campaign ran a couple of years ago throughout the year, and I was really proud that Travolution awarded us advertising campaign of the year and also growing brand of the year. And actually to be able to be awarded rising brand of the year from a legacy brand was a massive achievement for us, and I was so proud of what we've achieved and the business. And the whole of the marketing team, we worked with a phenomenal agency, MGBD, and it was a great achievement after being so long in this space and having such a trusted brand. To win both of those awards was a tremendous accolade for us. And in the same year, I was really proud to be awarded Shine Businesswoman of the Year. And for me, it's been a massive highlight of my career, and it was, I was very proud. And it was not really for me, to win it. It was the whole business had achieved an enormous amount in that year, in those 2 years, in moving the brand forward. And I kind of felt I kind of won it on behalf of the team. And I think for me, we have an amazing team at Teletext, and we have quite a small team. There's only 38 of us, 39 of us. But we have a very talented team, and what I put in front of the business is the fact you have to keep talent in the business. You have to keep the talent in there, and it's very important to have a talented team, and you have to continue to bring talent into your business, but also to make sure that you look after the talent that you have. So what we have done this year is we've put quite a large budget into training and development and coaching into our staff. And actually, we're looking at all the staff benefits and how the staff perceive us as a business, and we're really looking at the staff and how they enjoy working at Teletext. And to me, that's absolutely important, and that's another big thing for us this year in terms of looking internally is the staff and coaching and development, and looking at their own career paths as well, and being able to make sure that they can move forward and giving them all the tools to be able to do that. But yeah, I mean, the business is incredible, but it's purely down to the staff that we have and the people that we have internally. I think if we highlight one particular area, and what we need to do is actually look at data and look at MI. What we're doing at Teletext is we're putting MI, management information, at the centre of our business, and we're absolutely going to focus on that. You can be the best website in the world, but if you don't know what your customer is doing, if you don't know who your customers are or what they're doing or what they want to buy, you might as well close down. And actually we don't look at data close enough, and we don't actually really know exactly, you know, can you actually honestly say that someone who's come to you from PPC, SEO, and email, exactly where they're going and what they're doing, how they're interacting? And you have to put that at the centre of your business. So you have to know who your customer is, what they want to do, you know, where they want to go, how they want to interact with you, etc., etc. You have to put that at the centre of your business, and you have to learn from that. And that's exactly what we're doing at Teletext. And we're literally starting from the ground back up again in doing that, and absolutely tracking our consumers all the way through. So in fact, what we can do is provide effective advertising for our clients. We can say we absolutely 100% know that works. We know it converts. We know people click on it. We know that's what we want. We know that's what they search for. But we can actually provide MI and data as well. So we know how many people are searching for this, how many calls they've taken, how many clicks they've made, how many views. You have heat maps on the site, so you know how many people have hovered their mouse over it. But unless you actually have concise data, it just won't work. And there's some great data providers out there if you want industry data, like GfK and people like that, Mintel, but that will just give you an overview. You actually have to get absolutely inside your business and know exactly what's happening within your business and what's happening on the website. Otherwise, you know, you're never going to be able to grow the business effectively. For anyone who is starting out and is coming out of university and wants to get a career in travel, I'd say first of all, travel. Go travelling, get the passion, and never lose that passion, never lose the bug for travel, because actually it's in the heart of everybody. Everyone has this huge travel bug, and it's almost what keeps you going. You have to start at the bottom. You kind of have to start, you know, you have to know the basics, and you have to get a good grounding. I think if you're coming into specialist areas, more like marketing or tech, then yes, you don't necessarily, but if you're coming certainly on the product side or the sales side, you kind of have to start at the bottom. To get a really good understanding of what people's jobs are and what they need to do, but actually you just kind of need that grounding, but never lose that passion. Absolutely keep it in. Get a mentor. Have someone that can mentor you. I've been really fortunate. I've worked with some phenomenal bosses in the past, and I've learnt a great deal. And when I first became MD, you know, I had this huge learning curve, and I took on a couple of mentors, and I had some mentors that were provided for me by the Daily Mail Group, which was great. And also I brought on myself through through industry colleagues, and learnt a great deal from them. But never be afraid to say that you need to learn something. And my biggest advice would be never be afraid to ask lots of questions, and don't be afraid that they're stupid questions, because actually you're not expected to know everything, especially if it's in a world that's now been led by technology and online marketing and digital marketing. And if that's not your background, don't be afraid to ask lots of questions, because you'll never appear stupid. You'll just appear inquisitive. And actually just soak it up, you know, do lots of reading. There's lots of really talented people out there, and just, you know, meet them and learn from them. But I get a mentor, and there's, you know, the AWTE provide a mentor scheme, the Association of Women Travel Executives provide a mentor scheme as well as Shine, and loads of other organisations. And actually, you know, it's a great way, to an introduction and meeting people and being introduced to people, but actually you'll just be able to soak up a lot of talent. Okay, I have two. My city, I've got a city and a habit. So my favourite city is Parma. I just will never, ever, ever tire of going to Parma. I think it's a phenomenal city. It's beautiful. It's got the most amazing bars and restaurants and hotels, but I just love the feel. I love just getting out there, and I love you can just walk along. You've got the harbours and the seafront. But you've got everything from the beach. So you've got Porto, and you've got the beach area. You can go into the city. You can go to the old town. You can wander around the old town. You can go to Porto Portal and look at the amazing boats I can always dream about having. But I will never tire of actually being in Parma. I just think I'd go every year, and it's just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Long weekend, brilliant. So my favourite destination I've been to just once, and hopefully I'll go at some point again, is the Cook Islands. And I was really lucky when I worked for Air New Zealand. I took a family trip, and it's not the place to take 10 travel agents, trust me. But we went to the Cook Islands, and we went to an island called Itataki, and you fly from New Zealand or wherever, and you fly to Rarotonga, and then you get a little small kind of seaplane, and you go to Itataki, and it is beautiful. I mean, it's the most beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. And the hotel that we stayed in was like, it was on stilts over the sea. Again, you don't want to go there with 10 travel agents, but it was on stilts over the sea. And I remember, you know, lying in my bed, and I opened up the doors, and all I could see was sea, and it was blue sea. And my breakfast arrived by boat. By some bloke in a canoe, came along with my breakfast, and it had a glass floor in my bedroom, and you could see the fish swimming underneath. And to me, it was just paradise. I mean, it was absolute paradise. And hopefully one day, you know, I'll go back. But to me, was just escapism, pure escapism. Brilliant.